In the United States, there's 8 wings. They're all interconnected. So this side goes wing 8, then to 6, then to 4, then to 2. The other side are wings 1, 3, 5, and 7. In the middle of all that is a very big dining room. They all eat at one time in one big place, all 4,400 of them. They have about 45 minutes to eat. They're all served within 5 minutes of arriving, family style. They're usually out of there in about 15 or 20 minutes. 388 tables down there, 12 bids per table. That's all that. Let's go look at the first flag. The room has a wash basin and sink. And then the men and women's restrooms are on every floor of every room. USS Antietam, a beautiful sailing cruiser, nice model right now, but it was actually used in the classroom 100 years ago to teach the midshipmen of that era the sails, the rigging, and the line. Far side, on the replica of the very first lifeboat plane the Navy ever ordered, called the B-1. It flew out of here in September of 1911. Where the lights are is a little restaurant where the midshipmen could go for pizza or burgers or something like that on the weekend. What happens here on Saturday is every plebe is provided a home away from home out in town. People sign up for what we call the sponsor program. You actually can get 1, 2, or 3 plebes. You're assigned that plebe for the whole year, which means you're assigned to that plebe for the rest of your life, because they don't go away once they've had a whole year with your family.
What's a plebe?
That means it's come to your house only on Saturday from noon until midnight. But at 12 hours, they can talk a lot, they can eat a lot, they can sleep a lot, and they become really part of your family. It's a good program.
So what's this plebe word?
Plebe is the freshman. That's from that Latin term plebeian, lowest of the low.
Oh,
that
okay.
one. That's the freshman. And then next year they're the youngsters, sophomores. And then second class, and then first class. So after a whole year, it's supposed to be the plebe sponsor program. After a whole year with you, they just keep coming back all the time. So we go to a lot of weddings. We send a lot of baby stuff, when the babies start coming, later after they graduate.
So you were involved in that?
Oh, yes. We still have many, many emails and all kinds of stuff.
I didn't hear what this hall was.
This is called Dahlgren Hall, named for the inventor of the rifle cannon used during the United States Civil War, Admiral John Dahlgren. This was the armory. They used to keep all the weapons here a long, long time ago in 1899. Then it became, during World War II, a training ground for gun mount training. You have an ice hockey arena for a while. Now it's what it was when I was a midshipman. It is used for the big major dances. The farewell ball, the graduation ball, and the ring dance. We all remember the ring dance so well because it's when you finally get the right. You've earned the right to wear your Naval Academy ring at the end of your junior year. Not until you finish 3 years do you get your ring. So what you do is you come in here wearing your very formal uniform, and then your date, my example, had a formal gown on, and she was wearing my Naval Academy ring around her neck on a blue ribbon, which of course I wasn't able to wear yet until this dance. About halfway down the dance floor, there's a blue font and a gold font containing waters of the 7 seas, which are actually sent to the Naval Academy just for this dance by Navy chaplains stationed around the world. She took my ring from around her neck and she christened my ring in waters of the 7 seas. And she put it on my finger. Of course, I wore it my first class year, my senior year here, and then, of course, the rest of my life. So that's the one we all remember. Actually, that's the one we all keep a photograph of, whether we married her or not. And I did not. Anyway, here we go. We're in the classroom 100 years ago. There she is. This is all going to become new tennis courts. They ever drain off. Largest torpedo the Japanese ever made. It's called a long lance, used by their surface navy against our aircraft carriers and our battleships. When I have World War II veterans come through here, this is where I stop the tour, right here. And I thank them for their service to our country, and then every so often well, only a couple times, I've been so impressed always with these people, but there was 1 or 2 of them really impressed me. I asked them, would you like to give the rest of the tour? And several of them these 2 have said yes, we'd be happy to give the rest of the tour. Best tours I've ever taken. I didn't give them. I just sat there and stood there and listened to them. They were amazing people. Last one was a 95-year-old gentleman in a wheelchair, very smart man. His mind is as sharp as a tack. And he appreciated the fact that we hadn't forgotten them. All the same when I was a kid. The last two dorms were added in 1961. Now they've got this closed off here because they're doing some construction. It's called Memorial Hall. It's really hallowed ground. It's really sacred ground. It's where we honor and memorialize all Naval Academy graduates who have lost their lives in the service of our country. Every name is up there. But this is the original French marble deck, the French marble floor that Mr. Flagg put in 1904. Very pretty, very ornate. He learned a lot, obviously, in France. We use this Memorial Hall for very special ceremonies only. Maybe an award ceremony, maybe a retirement from the Navy after 30 years. The Annapolis Peace Conference with the Middle Eastern leaders and President Bush in November of 2007. That was held up there in Memorial Hall. So shall we look at a room? Let's take a look. Let's see what one. What's that? This is the USS South Dakota. It's a battleship that performed so well. The Battle of Santa Cruz Islands in 1942. Beautiful mural that it's more meaningful when you go into Memorial Hall when it's open. Off to your right is the flag that she was flying at that time. Again, we don't want to forget our history. There's so many lessons to be learned by our midshipmen. They're still young and they're very, very impressionable. And obviously, we want them to understand who went before them so they can follow in their footsteps. Now this is a two-person room. There are threes, and they'll be a little bit larger than this with a third loft bed. The thing about this room, you have to keep it clean. That's for darn sure. To keep it clean, that means you got to pass room inspection. If you don't pass room inspection, we will re-inspect you, but not until the following Saturday. You have a whole week to get it right. So that means you spend the whole week in your room until you get the room squared away.
Spend the whole week in your room.
You do.
You don't go to class, or?
You go to class.
Oh.
Yeah. But you don't go out on liberty.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. You don't go out there and visit your sponsor family, for example. Okay. Yeah, we make them go to class too.
Are they spot inspections, or?
There's a spot inspection, then there are formal room inspections. Now, just to point all this out, midshipmen here get paid $900 a month to attend the Naval Academy. As midshipmen, United States Navy. That's a rank. They pay for, out of that $900, automatically is paid for their computers, their books, their clothes, their uniforms, beauty shop, barber shop, food, etc. By the time they pay all the bills, the $900 has gone down to $100. That $100 is their cash. That's what they have left. It's okay. It's still a free education, right? Free, in quote. Nothing free about it, but it's financially free. So we make sure they understand that when they come in here, that they'll get $100 in cash, but they're going to pay all this will be given to them. All they need when they come on induction day is what they're wearing. So on the 1st of July, when the plebe class came in, they were wearing what they were wearing, and they met their roommate, they got their room, they got all the stuff they needed to get through plebe summer, the 7 weeks of boot camp, that kind of thing, before we had a wonderful Paris weekend. Then everybody came back from their summer training, and then we had 4,400 midshipmen again. So that all takes place pretty. They don't need to bring a thing with them except themselves. We give them everything else. They pay for everything else, but it comes out of their midshipman pay.
Do they ever get to wear civilian clothes?
No civilian clothes, except the firsties can wear civilian clothes on the weekend out in town. They're about to become ensigns or second lieutenants, so we let them wear civilian clothes when they go out in town on the weekend. They've earned the right. Second of all, we want to see what they consider to be appropriate civilian attire. If we find a midshipman out there, a firstie, with wearing his Budweiser shirt, we will counsel him or her, and they will come back to the room and change in something more appropriate. Like, don't go to your first duty station wearing that.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So there's always a teaching moment here, of course. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to walk our way to Gate 3, as directed. I've been told that we don't want to get demerits, so we'll get you there certainly in time for 10:30. But along the way, I'll point out some academic buildings. Okay, I will also show you where magically, 5 days before the firsties graduate at Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium out in town, you may have seen it coming in. That 5 days before they do that, the plebes turn into upper class in a very special ceremony. And I'll ask you a question on that one, so don't get nervous, but I'm going to ask you one question, how fast they do this little exercise. And then we'll probably be done at that point in time. But it's a very big moment for the plebes when they're no longer plebes, of course. Now you wonder how many people want to do this for next year. The class of 2014 is being formed as we speak. All right, the admissions board is already meeting, and we've already had, and we've got a lot more coming, we already have had nearly 15,000 applicants for the class of 2014. So a lot of young men and women in our country really want to continue to serve, and they do, and we're very proud of the fact. So they keep wanting to help.
I noticed the rifle here.
That's for parades.
Parade.
Parades. This marching doesn't shoot. No shooting.
Your time was when you were a police.
Mislim da sprati, imaš mjesto za kompjuter, imaš mjesto za čovjek. A ovo je zvučalo. Hadi kokulu daha iyi. Amin. Hadi kokulu daha iyi. Daha iyi değil mi?
What's this mean? What's this mean? What's this? What's this?
Bundan korkalamışlar mı Serkan?
Nasıl abi?
Bundan korkalamışlar mısın?
Yok abi. Ama bizim de böyle şeyler var yalnız gemi odalarda bilgisayarları falan var. Bu hiyantoların.
Experiences here. Each summer, there are 3 upper class summers. They actually are around the world, serving on surface ships, naval aviation units, submarines, and with the Marine Corps. So by the time they become seniors here, these midshipmen know what the Navy and the Marine Corps are all about. They've had six months actually out there. Now they know they can make a good decision. That's important because they owe our country 5 years of service at a minimum for this education they receive as undergraduates here. 4-year undergraduate program leading to a Bachelor of Science degree. No Bachelor of Arts, all Bachelor of Science. Why? Because there's a technical Navy and Marine Corps out there, so we've got to get them ready for that. So you may, there are 22 majors to choose from, you may take one of the math, science, or engineering majors, but you also could major in English, history, economics, political science, Arabic, and Chinese, or Chinese. But you're going to get a Bachelor of Science, say, in Arabic. You're not going to get a BA in Arabic. The midshipmen are what makes this Naval Academy what it is. We're very proud of our history since 1845. We've got a beautiful campus, which we call the Yard, because when we started here in 1845, all Navy shore activities were called dockyard. So we call it the Yard. Still campus, but we call it the Yard. What makes it special, 4,400 young midshipmen, 900 young ladies, 3,500 young men. They're all here for 4 years. They get up at 6:30 in the morning and they go to bed at midnight here. 6:30 is reveille, 7 o'clock is breakfast, 4 academic classes in the morning, 50 minutes each, then lunch, then 2 academic classes in the afternoon, then 2.5 hours of mandatory sports where they learn a lot about teamwork and leadership, then dinner, then they must be in the dormitory room or in Nimitz Library or in an academic building studying from 8 until midnight. The only time they have off really is from noon on Saturday until midnight Saturday. and then the rest of the time they're studying hard. Now we let them off at our Thanksgiving for 3 days in November. They get 3 weeks of Christmas, 1 week of spring break, and 1 month off in the summer. The only difference in the summertime is when they first come in as freshmen, we call the freshmen here plebes. When the plebes come, that's from a Latin term, plebeian, lowest of the low. Anyway, they become, they grow up. They become sophomores, obviously, in 1 year, like any college, but we don't call them sophomores here, we call them youngsters. And then second class, then first class. So it's plebes, youngsters, second class, first class. First class we nicknamed firsties. You won't see too many midshipmen now. Some are going to church. They don't have to go to church here, but there's Jewish services on Friday evening. Right now it's Catholic Mass is going on, and we also have 11 o'clock a Protestant service. So there's opportunities here for midshipmen to go to services if they wish to do so. We have 8 Navy chaplains to meet their spiritual religious needs. It's totally up to them to take advantage of them. In addition to all that, they have to take a lot of professional courses like ethics, leadership, navigation, seamanship, and then they also have to pass the 1.5 mile run every semester they're here. Push-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups, self-defense classes, and you might imagine this is the Naval Academy, a lot of swimming tests. So they have to do all that, and that's why they have a 17.5-hour day. Unique among the 3 academies, of course, Air Force Academy and West Point, the Army Academy, they're absolutely phenomenal schools, but they have primarily military faculty. We have not been that way. Ever since 1845, we've had a 50-50 split. So right now we have 280 civilian faculty members with a PhD, their doctorate. Many have been teaching here 40 years, not at all uncommon. And you have people like myself coming right from the Navy or Marine Corps teaching those professional courses. So this is how we actually do it all. This is just an old field house. This is over 50 years old. It's called Halsey Field House, named for Admiral Bull Halsey, one of the great leaders we've ever produced here, class of 1904. It has so much to do with our success in keeping this country free during World War II. So we don't want to forget people like Admiral Halsey and Nimitz, Leahy, King, Spruance. We don't forget them. So this is the year now. Big rock climbing wall in the distance from physical education classes. This way they pass the 1.5 mile run for their exams every semester. Right now the University of Maryland's here warming up for a big round-robin lacrosse championship series throughout the day. Yesterday, in that horrible weather, it was all the women, all the women's lacrosse, as well as women rugby. So those two were out of the mud and the mess yesterday. The guys will be doing that today. Last night, this is also our basketball team. They're warming up. We're going to have a basketball practice this morning. So a lot going on here, like any campus in America. So, but they're a little more challenged here. How many people want to really do this? I mean, how many people want to take on 18-hour days? We brought in 1,230 in the new plebe class on the 1st of July. They go through like 7 weeks of boot camp. All but 15 made it through it. We lost 15. Now, all 4 years, we have an 86% graduation rate here. Only 14% drop out in 4 years. How many people did try to come in the class of 1,230? We had an applicant pool of 15,500. So very difficult to get into. Okay, that's a little bit of a background on what we're all about. We're going to walk through the yard. Now, some of these buildings, since you're up so early this morning, some of these buildings are not open, so we won't be able to go into some of them. But we'll do the best we can. Yes, ma'am.